Hey guys, and welcome to how to paint dark bronze on Iron Man from MCP. So today I thought we'd do a quick little tutorial on how to do the dark bronze that I do on a lot of my figures. I've had a few questions about it, and I thought what the hell, we may as well do a little tutorial on it just so you can see how it's done, specifically focused on it. So it's really easy. It's a style of bronze or dark metal that I do when I'm trying to, reduce the level of detail or noise on the model to focus on something that I'm really trying to paint, like for instance, the blue-green blend on some of my Soulblight models, or any of those blends, or different sorts of unique kind of colourful elements on the Mini that I want people to look at. And so I'll often do a sort of more blanket style metallic approach to some of the background details, and it's also a really good supporting color, but it can be your main color too. As with Iron Man here, we're going to be doing all of the Mini in that color, just to show it off and to see what it looks like as a main color. And it has a lot of red and blue in it, so that helps to complement with other colors. So it's a really good one, and I love painting it. It's very, very fast, and it's a good one for anything like this. Metallic scheme could be good for Necrons, etc. Also Dark Mechanicum, or any of those types of factions or armies that use a lot of dark steel or dark metallics. Skaven as well, that would be really good as well. So yeah, I think it's a really good one. So I guess we should get started, eh? So much like many of my blends, we're starting from a coloured base, and the reason why we're doing that is to put a colour in that shadow, so we don't just have black. And in this case we're using a dark blue, night blue from Vallejo. So you'll see me just base coat the areas that you're going to do in this sort of dark bronze colour. In this case it's the whole figure because it's Iron Man, and we're just going to be painting that on. Just use a larger brush, usually 1 drop of water in. Now depending on your wet palette, you may not need to add water, as the paint does absorb a lot of water through the paper. So if it's a bit thick, then yeah, 1 little drop is enough, but otherwise it should be good to go if you're using brands like Vallejo. With GW paints, often you usually add a drop because they tend to be a bit thicker, but here it's pretty good. So you just base coat the whole model as you're seeing me do, and get it ready for the next stage. So once we've got all that down and it's nice and blue, now we're doing a thing called a wet brush, and you're going to see me come over the top with that Warplock bronze, that dark bronze color, and paint it in a very loose and painterly way. We're not trying to base coat this, we're trying to leave the blue in all of the cracks and the grooves, and have a little bit of that blue showing through. And so basically you put the paint on the brush, and then you wipe a little bit of it off as you're seeing me do, but it's still wet, and then you paint it over. So you'll get a kind of base coat finish on the flat areas, but it will be lighter, and so the brush bristles will leave the cracks and grooves that dark color, and so it acts a bit like a dry brush, but in this case we call it a wet brush. It's an old term, I'm not sure it gets used much these days, but that's what it actually is. So you just want to go through that and do that over the whole model, and you'll end up with a very bronzy finish that's very painterly with a lot of that blue showing through. It's really easy to do, very fast. And so once we've got all that sorted out, then we move into that Runelord brass, and this is the main color. So this isn't exactly a highlight, but it is a step where we are now deciding where we're going to put this lighter tone. And so with this one, it's all about the larger flat areas, the edges of things, the top surfaces that are facing the light, i.e. the sun above, right? Or in this case, your mini lamp that you're painting under, right, at your table. And so you're picking all those raised spots and doing a sort of thick feathered highlight, and so you're just loosely brushing it over, allowing the mark making to inform how you paint it. And you'll see me just lining in some areas and being very loose. You don't need to be very sharp or fine with this. We're just getting a nice good solid bit of that brass color in those big areas to give it some shine. And so once that's all sorted out and you're happy with that finish, then we move into the highlighting stages. And so here we're using that Stormhost silver, and we're going to just influence it with that Runelord brass, just mixing a little bit of it in, just to give an off sort of brassy silver tone, so not quite full Stormhost. And so here we're using a fine detail brush, and this is where you're now going to be a little bit more careful. And so we're doing these fine detail highlights along edges, and again paying most attention to the tops of everything. You don't have to highlight all the way under the arms and so on, or under the forms. You can leave those that dark color. It's a very fast technique. We don't have to highlight everywhere. It's about more of a real world volumetric highlight. So that means like how sunlight would actually hit the surface. So we don't need to do the entire form, just all the raised areas. And so you'll just see me come around and do those little line edge highlights on the main areas. And then once we're happy with that and we like what we're seeing, then we come in for a final, almost like a spot highlight like we do with the other blends. And so here we're using that Storm Host Silver, and we're just going to be using that fine detail brush and picking out now the focal point areas, the very raised surfaces, the edges that are most facing the light above. And so they'll catch the light in your room or at your gaming table, etc., and they'll really shine and make the whole metallic surface come alive. And so now we've got a really big contrast between the dark blue up into that reddy bronze color, and then up into these brasses and silvers. And so you get a full spectrum of gradient of color, which is really vibrant and fun, and doesn't take very long at all. And there we go, some dark bronze on Iron Man. So let's take a look. So you can see how fast this is, just super loose and painterly. You know, we're just trying to get an overall sensation here. So this allows you to be looser and faster, right? So, but you can see it still picks out all the light. It looks really great. It's very evocative. You know, and when you're putting it on the painting table further away, you know, it gets that nice metal shine. And we've got those nice dark areas to simulate that real world metal look. Yeah, it's really fun. And you're getting the blue in there with those cool tones. You've got the red for some warmth, then you've got these sort of really bright sharp silver highlights. It can complement many schemes. So with that blue and the red in there, you can do with red or green, etc. There's many colors that you could add to this to further push the scheme along. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this. You know, it's really fast, it's good fun, and it will definitely help you along in your painting journey, I'm sure. So I'll leave a nice image for him at the end so you can take a look, and the paint lists I usually do. But I hope you enjoyed this. Please hit that like button, subscribe button. It really helps me out, and I guess I'll catch you on the next one.